It's good to talk with you, my friend. How I know you get this a lot, and I want to get it on the table for conversation. I mean, how tired of you? I follow you on social media, and your X platform posts are a second to none. But you make sure to remind people that you feel like your body, the House of Representatives, is getting a few things done, and it just goes to sit over in the Senate. But I know you get this question a lot. What more can we do to encourage the Congress to do more to codify some of the activity going on in Washington, D.C. right now?
I think keep the pressure on us, Matt. Thanks so much for having me on. You know, the bill dealing with the judges that are definitely getting out of their lane is their license bill. 2 weeks ago, we passed it out of the House. And it's sitting over in the Senate. You know, you got to get 54 votes over there. But I tweeted out earlier on my X account at Tim Burchett that, you know, we just need to start voting stuff and send it to the Senate. And let's take our legislators into account. Let's see how they vote. Put it up or down. I'm tired of protecting people. We're not in the business of that. We should be in the business of enforcing the Constitution. And we're falling down on our duty. Send it over to the Senate. Let them vote it up or down. So if they got a tough bill, send it over to us. Let's do something. I'm sick and tired of these committees, these staff members, these gutless chairmen that won't move bills because some lobbyist has a problem with it. It's pathetic. I've got that bill to defund the Taliban. We sent them $40 million a dadgum week. And say that again. Say that again one more time. $40 million. $40 million a week. And a guy named Sean Ryan, who's a Navy SEAL who has a podcast, it rivals Rogan some week in viewership. And he's a Navy SEAL that's over there in Franklin, Tennessee. And he alerted me to a situation, and we looked into it. And sure enough, I even have the documentation from the State Department, who's no friend of yours or mine, that it's actually we've put close to $5 billion of your tax dollars into their pockets, and they take it through their NGOs. We've got close to 1,000 NGOs working out in Afghanistan, but those people will hate us for free. We've got to quit this stuff. It's all over the board. It's up and down, and somebody's getting rich off of it. And I don't care if they're a Republican or a Democrat. If they're doing it, they need to be in handcuffs and let out of the Capitol.
You mentioned the judicial overreach, and we talk about it much on the show, sure. Tim, and I want you to speak to what the House has passed and what is sitting over at the Senate right now, because it seems a simple task to say that a federal judge does not have authority to extend beyond their judicial boundary. Is it not that simple?
Yeah, it's these district judges is where you're seeing this, and Darrell's bill is very straightforward, and it just says they have to basically, put it in Tim Burchett terms that I understand, they just have to stay in their lane. They can't overreach on things they have no jurisdictional ability or within the rules of law. They cannot reach out into things that they're not supposed to be doing, and this sets those rules into place a little firmer than they were in the past. And people are saying, "Oh, censor them. Let's impeach them." Do you really think that's going to happen? And do we? I'd like to see it. I say do it. Let's bring them up. But we've got to get an urgency in Congress. We do not have that culture for running by us. And part of the problem you have, in my opinion, it's my humble opinion, but you've got a lot of people that would like to be speaker, and you've got a lot of staff members that would like someone to be speaker other than who's speaker, and they will slow things down. They will, we need to get a CBO score on this, or this group of lobbyists isn't going to like this. And I don't care. I'm sick of hearing chairmen in both parties say, we can't pass that because my staff wouldn't like that. And we didn't elect these staff members. These staff members are corrupted by the lobbyists on K Street, and that's another reason why I don't get big contributions. Honestly, they always can find somebody to throw money at, but they don't do it to me because I call them out on this stuff. And we've got to call it for what it is. It is corruption. and it goes to the core of everything that we're doing right now, and it's greed, and that's the basis of it.
I mean, are you at all concerned? I mean, even with a razor thin majority in the House, you guys seem to, according to what you're telling me now, you're getting a few pieces of legislation passed, and it just goes over to sit at the Senate. You can understand why the people around the state of Tennessee and around the United States of America are getting a little bit frustrated. What's your message to those folks that are getting frustrated? I mean, I understand it. It's only been 94 days by my math since Trump was inaugurated. We have a majority in the House. We have a majority in the Senate. And people feel like, well, we need a supermajority. We need this or that over in the Senate. I mean, it's starting to fall on deaf ears why some of these things aren't getting past the Senate. I know it's the other body, but what do you say to folks?
Well, it's us too. I mean, we've got to start putting stuff out. You remember when you had me on right after Trump got inaugurated, and I said, look, the victory lap is over. Let's get to work. Let's do something. Let's show America that we mean business. Congress is in a we're one flu season away from losing the majority. Donald Trump won overwhelmingly, and there's a reason he won overwhelmingly, and there's a reason we did not win overwhelmingly, because our message was very clouded and diluted. Trump's was not. It was crystal clear, and those of us who put forth that message, we were 15 or 16 points ahead on election day, and it falls back on our former leadership who. These moderates in these seats that we could have elected conservatives, and that's part of the problem. So it's going to take more than one election cycle to clean this mess up, but we got to keep fighting, and I hope America just keeps pushing us. I know they're frustrated. I'm frustrated. I had a very I'll say spirited conversation with Speaker Johnson yesterday about this very problem, and that America is not. They don't care about the CBO scores and all the bureaucracy that's involved. They want action, and they need to get it. We need to start codifying everything President Donald J. Trump has done and get it to the floor of the House and send it over to the Senate. We don't need to have, let's do a week of education bills. Let's do, it's always, that's always their goal. They've got these PR people that tell them how to do this stuff, and it's a nightmare. The state of Tennessee, they run their legislature, bill cut. And after it's passed the House, it goes to the Senate. The Senate, it goes to the House in just a matter of days. And there is no conduit there. It's just two separate bodies, and they hardly talk. And it's pathetic. The only ones that talk are the conservatives. And that's, right now I'm feeling like that's by design. That's to keep this stuff subdued. And if they can run out the clock on this thing, we will miss the best chance of riding our fiscal storm that we ever had. Because if we don't, the anarchists win. We lose our country fiscally every other way. You can complain about all the other stuff, but if we do not have our fiscal ship in order, we will sink.
The one thing that it feels to me that Trump is doing as well as he possibly could would be on the immigration front. Some of the numbers that we're seeing on the southern border are incredible. Some of the criminal alien deportations are exactly what the American people voted for last November. I look no further than the mainstream media's obsession with this Abrego Garcia guy as an example of how well it's going. Because if there was a better example of somebody that they could try to lionize they could create this anecdotal, symbol out of, they would, but they can't. I mean, do you get that concerned? I mean, we recognize that maybe there weren't some boxes checked in terms of Abrego Garcia, but I'm not going to get heartburn about it all. You're a law and order guy, though, Tim. I mean, would you like to have seen that process work a little better?
In retrospect, I really don't know, because he is not an American citizen. It'd be like if the president of El Salvador, and I'm on the El Salvador caucus. I'm in tune. I've been in tune with what's going on in El Salvador for quite some time. And, it'd be like if the president of El Salvador demanded President Trump release an American citizen to him in El Salvador. That's the same deal. They're here illegally. It went through the process. He was sent back to his country of origin. He has gang ties. There's no question there. I think they keep saying that, but and the Democrats basically, I don't know where they're doing their polling. Even That's at ESPN, but that's pretty liberal too. But even CNN has said, 56% of the population of America thinks that we're going in the right direction right now with immigration. And that's CNN. So, you can probably add 10 or 15 points to it. So I just think that we need to push this thing. Let's pat ourselves on the back on immigration. Let's tighten up those laws, and then let's move to the next one. We've got Department of Education. We've got Department of Defense. All this stuff that DOJ has uncovered through all these things. Shut down the Department of Education. Send the money to the states. It's not in the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. And send it to the states. Of the United States, excuse me. Send it to the states. Let them figure it out. And let's move on. That's what we need to do. We need to follow through with what we said we're going to do. And we just get bogged down. And part of the problem, again, is a lot of people, everybody think I must be the only guy in Washington, D.C. that does not want to be Speaker of the House. I think everybody up there has figured out some angle of this happens, if this happens, if this happens. I might have a shot at this. So they're not going to be pushing things. I think some people would rather, serve in heaven and they'd rather rule in hell, because if we lose that majority, buddy, we will be serving in hell, because they will tip those scales so fast and we will lose everything.
Well, in light of what the judges are doing, in light of the activism that's going on in our judicial system, mostly at the local level, I think all of this will eventually get worked out at the higher levels, whether it be at the appellate courts or the Supreme Court.
One thing I want to make, I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. One thing that needs to be made on these judges, we got to quit playing ball with these Democrats when we appoint these judges. That's, every time we get in there, I remember the Democrats holding people up, Bork, all these people they kicked out, and they took pride in it. And then what do we do as Republicans? The Bushes, we're going to play ball with them. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to allow these moderates on our courts. And that's why we're getting the wood put to us right now. And that we ought to remember that every dadgum time. Yeah, shut the dadgum government down if they don't play ball with us. And that's the one tool you have in your toolbox. For Tommy Tucker, all the hell for that. And God bless him for it, because he exposed what's going on. We need to start standing up as conservatives in doing what we said we're going to do. And if it comes to making tough decisions, make those tough decisions, because we're seeing now what these activist judges can do, and they're activists and they're anarchists.
Is it too early for us to begin to judge progress or lack thereof within the FBI? Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and the like. Do we need to give these guys a little more time, or what's your assessment?
I think, from what I understand, the process is starting to work. So yeah, we're going to have to. And again, you do away with something, still you got to build a case against people that did criminal activity. So there's so much out there. I think I think we've got two good people in there, and they are working against a very corrupt system that is trying to run the clock out on them as well. And I think that's what you're seeing with them. From what I understand, my sources over there tell me, and I know Bongino, he's a patriot. I really like him, and I think that's exactly what they're up against. It's just like with those leaked phone calls. That was a setup. Somebody with the inside did that. And I'm for that as well.
Well, and Tim, you well know. The left, they've decided they want a pelt, and they've decided that they're going to try to get the Secretary of Defense. And I'm not granting an inch on Pete Hegseth right now. I think we lost him. I think we finally. Oh no, there.
He's perfect. He needs to get off that set. I remember when out, everybody contact me on Signal thinking that nobody could listen or watch or whatever. And I thought, yeah, some 15-year-old kid in a basement somewhere has already figured out how to hack into this thing. And it's just very, it's like saying the Titanic was unsinkable. It's very arrogant right now. I think with the technology, it's developing so fast that we think that anybody can get around that stuff. And I think they learned their lesson. I think they've lost. That's a very long conversation with him and the Speaker, about my concerns at the Pentagon and the expenditures and things going on. We're buying aircraft carriers and more manned air flights when we know drones are where it's at. When we know somebody can put 100 drones in there and knock down anything we got. So, and that's no oversimplification. That is a reality.
Tim, before we let you go, I saw on social media you were at the world's largest fish fry. Was that today?
Yeah, well, it's going on today. I was at it yesterday.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was invited down. I've been trying to get to it forever, and
beautiful Paris, Tennessee. I've been to Paris, Tennessee.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the world's largest fish fry. I've been trying to get there forever, and I love catfish, so it was great. And a lot of great people, very good conservative, God-fearing folks. And I was just honored to be asked to come down and shake a few hands. And if I ever was to run statewide, that Paris, Tennessee would be a good place to have some friends.
Some people are suggesting that Tim Burchett might be a pretty good senator to shake things up in that other body, get some activity going on. You ever thought about it?
Well, I've thought about it. If the Lord opened that door, I would definitely be interested in pursuing that. I really would.